Hello and welcome to our concluding episode this month on internationalism. Today we shall talk about the United Nations. Last week we celebrated the 81st anniversary of the United Nations that we popularly call the UN. And what drama the recent General Assembly sessions threw up, from a grumbling president to a sporting one who didn't have a problem being stopped by the police on New York streets. From an escalator that wouldn't move to a presence that triggered a mass walkout by delegates. Many of my friends and contemporaries have actually asked me about the actual relevance of the UN today. Well, given all the unilateralism and the multilateralism that is taking place in the world, 80 years after its inception, they refer to the increasing unilateralism by particular countries as well as the continuation of global conflict. But let me say it loud and clear. While often criticized for inefficiency, bureaucracy, and limited enforcement power, the United Nations remains a highly significant organization for several reasons. But the key relevance of the United Nations today lies in its continuing role as the only truly global multilateral platform where nearly all countries, currently the United Nations has 193 member states, come together to address collective challenges. First and foremost, the United Nations provides a forum for dialogue to prevent conflicts from escalating. We have seen that time and again. It deploys peacekeeping missions in fragile states. It works on nuclear disarmament and arms control through bodies such as the International Atomic Energy Agency. The UN is about humanitarian assistance. It coordinates disaster relief and refugee support through agencies such as the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, the World Food Programme, and UNICEF. It responds to humanitarian crises caused by wars, natural disasters, and pandemics. The United Nations is about sustainable development. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals adopted by the United Nations guide global development policies till 2030. It also mobilizes international cooperation on poverty eradication, education, health, and equality. The United Nations Framework Convention on Climatic Change and Paris Agreement are central to global climate negotiations. In terms of human rights and international law, the Universal Declaration on Human Rights remains foundational, and the International Court of Justice and related bodies mediate disputes and interpret international laws. Funnily, even when the great powers bypass the UN, they still seek its endorsement for legitimacy. The UN sets global norms on issues such as terrorism, cybercrime, and outer space governance. What we do see is that the United Nations and national interests often intersect in complex ways. There are times when states use the UN to prevent wars that harm their own stability or economy. At the same time, powerful states seek UN backing, for example, on issues such as sanctions on North Korea, interventions in Libya, to give their policies global legitimacy. The UN facilitates trade norms, development aid, and cooperation to boost prosperity, aligning with national growth agendas. At the same time, some states see the United Nations human rights monitoring or interventions as infringements on domestic sovereignty, and often major powers block resolutions that go against their strategic interests, especially in the Security Council. All said and done, smaller nations may sometimes feel that the UN is dominated by the Security Council's permanent members, limiting their ability to advance their interests. But the states have also figured out a way of reconciling the two. One, through selective multilateralism. States support United Nations action when it aligns with their interest, but bypass it when it does not meet their approval. In coalition building, countries form blocs within the United Nations to amplify shared interests. And norm sharing. States use United Nations platforms to push narratives that serve their national interests and agendas. In short, what we do see is that the United Nations dovetails wonderfully with national interest. For smaller states, it is both a protector and a megaphone. For major powers, it is a tool for legitimacy and an arena for influence. And for all, it is a place to negotiate trade-offs between sovereignty and interdependence. All said and done, the United Nations is far from perfect. There are issues. The main one being paralysis brought about by deadlock in the Security Council thanks to the vetoes exercised by the primary members. There are allegations of an inefficient bureaucracy, and because it is a world body, things do take time. Actually, what is also happening is because of this, more and more nation states are relying on smaller blocs that are better in addressing regional or local concerns and do not take as much time or maneuvering. And on top of that, there is the limited enforcement power. As we have seen, what the United Nations can do is pretty much dependent on the will of the nations in it, primarily those that are large, that are responsible for most of its funding. Yet, the United Nations remains indispensable. It is the only organization of its scale where every nation state can come along and discuss matters of world importance. Its relevance is less about solving each and every issue that the world is confronted with. Instead, it is more about providing legitimacy, coordination, and a global conscience.